Mark Wahlberg plays Captain Jack Harper, a seasoned pilot with a mysterious past. He's hired for a high-paying last-minute job to transport a federal prisoner, Victor Kane, a notorious criminal, from a remote Alaskan airstrip to a maximum security prison in the continental U.S. The flight is supposed to be straightforward, but Harper senses something is off from the start. Harper is briefed by a shady government agent who emphasizes the importance of the mission. Kane is brought aboard in handcuffs, smirking confidently despite his dire situation. The plane is a small, rugged aircraft designed for harsh weather conditions. A storm is brewing, adding to the tension. Midway through the flight, Harper begins to suspect that Kane is not who he seems. Strange events unfold. The plane's communication systems fail, cutting off contact with the ground. Kane reveals cryptic knowledge about Harper's past, suggesting he knows more than he should. Harper discovers a hidden compartment on the plane containing weapons and fake documents. As the storm worsens, Harper confronts Kane, who admits that the entire mission is a setup. Kane claims he's actually an undercover agent, and Harper is the real target. The government believes Harper is involved in a smuggling ring, and this flight is a test of his loyalty. Harper must decide whether to trust Kane or continue the mission as planned. The storm forces the plane to divert to an abandoned airstrip in the wilderness. Harper and Kane form an uneasy alliance to survive the elements and uncover the truth. On the ground, Harper and Kane are pursued by armed mercenaries sent to eliminate them. They realize they've been pawns in a larger conspiracy involving corrupt officials and a powerful criminal organization. Harper and Kane use their combined skills to outwit the mercenaries. Flashbacks reveal Harper's past as a former special ops pilot, explaining his survival skills. Kane sacrifices himself to ensure Harper can escape and expose the conspiracy. Harper makes it back to civilization and delivers evidence of the conspiracy to the media. However, the film ends on an ambiguous note, with Harper walking away into the wilderness, unsure of who he can trust. The relationship between Harper and Kane evolves from distrust to reluctant partnership. Both physical survival in the wilderness and moral survival in a world of corruption. Harper's journey to clear his name and confront his past. The intermission would occur at a critical moment in the story, likely after a major revelation or cliffhanger. For example, it could happen when Captain Jack Harper, Mark Wahlberg, discovers that the mission is a setup and that he's been betrayed. Here's how it might play out. The plane is caught in a violent storm and Harper is struggling to maintain control. Victor Kane, the prisoner, reveals a shocking truth. The flight is a setup, and Harper is the real target. Kane claims that Harper has been framed for a crime he didn't commit, and the government is using this mission to eliminate him. Kane: you think you're the hero of this story? Wake up, Harper. You're the fall guy. This whole mission is a trap, and you're walking right into it. Harper, angrily: if you're lying, I'll make sure you never see daylight again. Kane, smirking: you're not the one who should be worried. Suddenly, the plane's engine fails and the cockpit alarms blare. Harper fights to stabilize the aircraft as lightning flashes outside. The screen cuts to black, and the words "the intermission" would be accompanied by tense, dramatic music fading out. The theater lights would slowly come up, giving the audience a moment to process the cliffhanger. The intermission could last 10 to 15 minutes, allowing viewers to discuss the plot twists and speculate about what will happen next. When the film resumes, the tension picks up right where it left off. Harper manages to crash land the plane in a remote, snow-covered wilderness. Both he and Kane survive, but they're stranded with no way to call for help. The second half of the film would focus on their survival and the unraveling of the conspiracy. A thriller like Flight Risk benefits from a break to let the audience absorb the high-stakes tension. Ending the first half on a shocking revelation keeps viewers eager for the resolution. If the film is lengthy or has a complex plot, unwished, as the movie nears its climax, Casey Mayan, played by Hilary Swank, faces mounting pressure to close the investigation surrounding the plane crash. Throughout the film, she is shown battling not just with the technical complexities of the crash, but with the larger forces of the airline industry and the powers trying to stymie her progress. The film is a slow burn thriller, and as the mystery begins to unravel, the audience is shown that the crash was not an isolated ijatsia. In the final stages of the investigation, Casey's pieces together that the aircraft involved in the crash was not properly maintained. It turns out the airline knew about the flaws in the plane's systems and had repeatedly ignored maintenance recommendations to save money. This isn't just a failure of the airline's operational department, but also involves a cover-up from high-level executives and possibly even governmental oversight agencies that were complicit or negligent in their duties. The moment of revelation. The ultimate revelation comes when Casey gains access to crucial internal documents from the airline. These documents detail numerous instances of malfunctioning parts that had been flagged by engineers yet ignored by the airline. Jack, the CEO of the airline, is confronted with the evidence, and in one of the most intense scenes of the film, Casey directly challenges him on the cover-up. Jack initially denies all accusations, claiming that any issues were minor and that the safety of passengers was never compromised. But as Casey presents her meticulously gathered evidence, including records of past incidents and internal communications, his defenses begin to crack. Jack's desperate attempts to downplay the severity of the issue are contrasted with Casey's calm but determined demeanor. She presses him on how the airline chose profits over passenger safety and how their inaction directly led to the crash. In this confrontation, the weight of the truth hits hard for Jack, who now realizes that no amount of corporate spin will save him from facing the consequences of his company's actions. The key turning point here, is when Casey produces a secretly recorded meeting between senior airline officials, where they discuss the company's decision to cut corners on plane maintenance and even dismiss concerns raised by some engineers. This moment of truth is cathartic not just for Casey, but also for the audience, who have been following the investigation from the beginning. The personal toll on Casey. Although Casey successfully exposes the truth, there's no clear, unqualified victory. The film takes a darker, more nuanced turn as the emotional and personal toll on Casey Ambar becomes evident. Throughout the movie, she has been portrayed as someone driven by a strong moral compass, someone who believes deeply in justice and accountability. However, the process of exposing corporate corruption, particularly when it involves something as tragic as a plane crash, takes a heavy emotional toll on her. By the time the final scenes unfold, it becomes clear that Casey has lost something personal in the process of seeking justice. She's become distant from those around her, alienated by the relentless pursuit of truth, and burdened by the lives lost in the crash. In a particularly poignant moment, she visits the families of the victims, attempting to offer closure, but it's evident that she carries guilt, not just because of the lives lost, but because the system she worked within allowed for such negligence to occur in the first place. At the same time, she seems to have a sense of quiet vindication. Despite the personal cost, she has helped expose a major systemic failure that could potentially save future lives. But there's no sense of triumph. The film makes it clear that justice, in this case, doesn't come with the kind of resolution or satisfaction one might expect. The legal and public fallout. The last scenes show the aftermath of the investigation. Jack, along with other senior airline executives, faces public and legal scrutiny. The government starts the process of holding the airline accountable, with regulatory bodies promising new safety measures and investigations into the company's practices. The legal battle, however, remains a prolonged and complex process. While the company faces intense media scrutiny, it becomes clear that they will fight back tooth and nail to protect their interests. Despite the public outcry, the judicial system moves slowly, and Casey knows that even with the truth on her side, justice might still be delayed or diluted by powerful legal teams and corporate interests. In one of the final moments, we see beside Casey walking away from the investigation, having done her part, but she's not leaving behind a sense of victory or closure. Instead, she seems to carry an emotional burden as she processes the significance of what she's uncovered. The final shot is ambiguous. leaving the audience to question whether Casey truly believes that the fight for accountability will bring about any real change in a system so entrenched in corruption. The film's ending underscores the immense cost of truth. Casey, although successful in uncovering the cover-up, faces the emotional weight of knowing that even when justice is sought, the system is often too large and complex to fix.